Welcome to the Pollinator Garden.
This is a brochure that students have put together to talk about the monarch butterflies.
The monarch butterflies are very crucial for our environment and ecosystem. And there are over 150 crops in the US that are going to be necessary for pollination, which is what the monarchs do.
And without our crops, then we might not survive. So it's good that monarchs are pollinating our crops.
In the beginning of the year, we learned that the butterflies come from Canada down through the US into Mexico, and they stay there through the winter and just go back when they're ready after winter.
Throughout the year, we tag monarch butterflies. First, we capture them in the garden, and we tag them carefully on the wings with these marking tags. The tags are not harmful at all. They go carefully on the wing, and we capture them to make sure that we can see if any of our monarchs that we find within the garden are recovered in Mexico.
And in order for those monarchs to have a stable and normal migration process, they have to have certain kinds of milkweed. So whenever they come through South Carolina, there are 3 native species of milkweed. We have Asclepias incarnata, also known as swamp milkweed. You have tuberosa, also known as butterfly milkweed, and there's syriaca, also known as common milkweed.
But unfortunately, monarchs are endangered and are declining for a variety of reasons.
So basically, the milkweed supply is just running low, and without those plants, they are the only resource for the monarchs to be able to lay their eggs, which means without the milkweed plants, then they won't be able to keep reproducing and are going to leave our plants just unpollinated.
But there are ways that you can help with the monarchs. You can plant milkweed, which is their host plant, as you know.
I'm at Irmo Middle School, and I'm speaking with Will Green, who's a 7th grade science teacher. You have my condolences and congratulations for being able to do that.
Thank you, I appreciate that. We need those for sure.
And we're sitting in front of a pollinator garden, and you got the idea to put this in, I imagine, based on the fact that the monarch butterflies need our support.
That's right, all pollinators need our support, but we were especially interested in having a garden that featured milkweed, which is a monarch's host plant. And then we also have some other things in the garden, but the main focus is 3 species of native milkweed that we have in this garden, specifically designed for the monarchs, but again, pollinators in general visit the garden.
And although that's a lovely thing to do to support the ecology of the world of North and South America, but I've enjoyed talking with some of your students and learning about how each one has a different reason that this garden is so interesting to them and what makes them want to come and work with it. So can you talk about some of the spin-offs? I think that is the surprising thing you told me that happened as well.
Right. So the garden is one part of the overall work that we do. It's all intended to give the kids a chance to take action, to become passionate about something, and to take action on some real issues that that they can become just interested in and learn more about. And it's cool for the kids because sometimes I'm learning right alongside them, and they get a chance to plug into the work in lots of different ways. Some of them love the idea and the action of coming out and catching butterflies, catching monarchs in the garden and tagging them.
And when they tag them, that was very peculiar. It's kind of like putting a sticker on a banana. Tell me about that.
That's right. Yeah, the technology has changed over the years. It used to be just some adhesive you put on a piece of paper and stick it on the wing. And now the technology has led us to a sticker that's similar to something you would find on produce at the grocery store. And it has a little unique code and a website that people can go to. And the idea is that we find out where our monarchs that are on the East Coast, where they migrate to, because they don't all migrate to Mexico like the ones in the Midwest that funnel down through Mexico and into the mountains of Mexico. So the idea is that maybe we can figure out where our monarchs are heading to.
And monarchs leave Mexico, that's where they spend their winter, and they come up. And you see a few sometimes on that upward migration, but the majority of the ones you see are coming down in August, I believe?
Yeah, that's right. So, as they migrate, there's different generations,
Yeah.
4, some even believe maybe 5 generations in between. And there's a superorganism that is genetically different than the others. That is the one that migrates to Mexico and roosts over winter and then migrates back. But we see the majority of our monarchs around the late August, September, beginning of October time, and that's when we do our tagging.
But that's perfect because that's when the kids are back in school.
That's exactly right. So we hit the ground running at the beginning of the year, and we introduced them to this issue of pollinators in general, but monarchs specifically, and the decline in their numbers and why that's happening. And so the kids right off the bat just get really deep into understanding why this work is important and that they are going to, become a part of it and have a chance to take action. We have had, kids go to the Irmo Town Council and to present to them to ask for their support and partner with us to get milkweed out into the community, specifically to the parks and the gardens in the town of Irmo. We've had kids that, they take part in terms of, art projects.
Your signs are just great. Your signs are fabulous.
And to make the signs, that spread awareness, because that's one of our ultimate goals is to spread awareness of the issue. The signs take a student that's gifted in the arts and being artistic, and it takes a kid that is good at research and processing information and putting it in words that are theirs, but also, it explains and educates the public with whatever topic they want to educate them about. So we're proud of our signs and the fact that students created them.
But in your greenhouse, y'all have a program where you raise bedding plants and also the milkweed and make them available to the public at some time. And I believe a lot of the children really like greenhouse work.
That's right, they do. And we have students in there that have never put their hands in soil before. And so they are really excited to be able to do that and learn the process of planting seeds and transplanting. And we teach them how to root different things. Our science fair projects actually have come from work that we do in the greenhouse, and we get this real relevant scientific data that we can actually use and put into practice, with our work the next year. So it's good stuff, and we realize that, our efforts to get milkweed into the community is, that's the primary focus of the greenhouse, but we also raise other plants as well, and they are able to plant some vegetables in the raised beds that we have, and some of them, get to harvest the vegetables and take them home. So there's a lot of things to do for a lot of students.
And one of the things that's fun is, of course, you've got the Gulf fritillary, and so they learn about mimicry and some other scientific principles.
That's right, yeah. So passion vine sort of planted itself in our garden, and that's the host plant for the fritillaries. And so we get lots of fritillaries in the garden. And one of the things that they learn is the difference in flight for monarchs and fritillaries. As I like to say, the fritillaries just kind of fritillary along, and they flap their wings a lot, where monarchs will flap their wings and then glide. And so they're able to identify the difference. And they learned that the milkweed has cardinalides in it, which are toxins that the monarchs uptake, and that is a defense mechanism for them. And since they are orange, the other orange butterflies, like fritillaries, sort of get this mimicry defense because they resemble monarchs to some of the predators that might want to munch on them.
And y'all send kids out with nets sometimes, because although most of what happens naturally here in the garden, but you do bring some of the caterpillars inside so that y'all can watch the process, and they've got to come out here and figure out which orange butterfly I'm supposed to catch?
That's exactly right, yeah. So students come out and they will bring monarch caterpillars back into the classroom just so we can observe them and watch them, and they will go through their life cycle in there, and we can tag them from inside the classroom, in addition to catching them, the adults out here, and tagging those. And sure, they have to know the difference in fritillaries and monarchs, because we don't tag anything but monarchs.
I think you have a partner who's instrumental in this.
I do, yeah, I do. So Casey Davenport is the other 7th grade science teacher, and she is right in there with me in doing all of this work. And so we work together as a team to make sure that our students are able to participate and get all of the same experiences, that we have to offer here in the garden, and also the greenhouse work as well.
I'd like to put in a plug for both of y'all, because I believe y'all have 9 months appointments or whatever it is, and yet y'all are here in the summer when it's really hot and unhappy time to be outside in South Carolina. Both of y'all are over here spending time in the garden, and you have a true commitment to enlarging the life of your students and also being involved in the natural world. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's I can't do this alone. I appreciate and I'm extremely grateful for her help. It is a lot of hard work. We do put in a lot of hours, but to see the kids just get really passionate about something and understand that they may carry this from their 7th grade year on to the rest of their life and have an appreciation for gardening, an appreciation for pollinators, monarchs specifically. That's why we do this work.
And if people want to know more about this and all the good things that happen at Irmo Middle School, what's the best way to find out?
Well, it's easy. They can just go to Irmo Middle School's website, and there's a link on the website that will get them to all the information about our work and all of the things that we're doing out here related to monarchs and milkweed.
I've had a grand time. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you so much for coming.